He came to us from another galaxy one day, where harmony of three defines each deed. He noticed a spiritual thirst here right away. Compassion led him, for he saw our need. But here such people are inhospitably met. They try to average them out in every way, as people help each other to live in the unconscious net, in all the time and always in this way. But he came from a completely different perception, and he pretended to be like all of them. Once in a world of lies, follow the path of deception, deceive people in order to discover their inner gem. Then, for people like himself, he began to look for those who are also from other planets might be. Of these, the freest ones he took, whose eyes still open to the light could be. And so a secret order was formed, for self-development being a guide, and anyone who such work performed, after a while one took our side. But rumors about this school began to ply, as worldly people the unknown fear. Even though the order has never hurt a fly, a whole platoon against it has aimed the spear. The Brotherhood cannot be reached by any threat, as the initiate's conscience is luminous. Even on a blooming rose, thorns are met, and there are better places in the universe. Just like a bee has no attachment to a bud, having collected nectar, it flies to another flower. Thus, having touched the hearts of earthlings with freedom flood, they will leave when their time comes with power.
Chapter 1. The Star Messenger. Once, the Synclight of Galactic Coordinators convened an emergency meeting. Coordinators from the far corners of the universe gathered to review all the planets inhabited by intelligent beings. The Synclight of Coordinators had long been observing the planet Earth, directing their all-seeing gaze through a powerful galactic crystal that reflected the millennia of events taking place on Earth. Everything that had ever happened on our planet for many thousands of years, now existing only in legends, was reflected in this crystal. The fall of Atlantis and the demise of the Neanderthal civilization, the collapse of the Lemuria, and the end of ancient Egypt's existence. All these human sufferings of past civilizations. And before the eyes of the Synclight, new disasters and destruction passed by. The invasion of the Tatar-Mongol yoke, the campaigns of Alexander the Great, the Crusades. There was the First World War. The Second World War swept everything in its path. All events, from the destruction of the most ancient civilizations to the numerous wars that once occurred on Earth, were now, in the universe and the galaxy, erased by millennia, merging into one moment of our planet's existence, because the powerful crystal reflected everything happening in the universe for the Synclight of Galactic Coordinators to observe. And so, when Earth cried out in unbearable pain and suffering, the Coordinators heard a call for help. It was an unceasing prayer from the ruler of the legendary Circle of Great Masters, the Holy Earth, where the earthly world touches the cosmic consciousness, had always prayed for humanity. And the prayer of Rigdon Japo, like a light on the path of humanity, always reached the higher cosmic hierarchs, and at that moment, the Synclight responded to this call, saving Earth from destruction. the Circle of Great Masters took on a tremendous task of transforming humanity into higher forms of evolution, and to this day, the world's eye of the Circle of Great Masters shines from the subtle levels like a guiding star for all those who follow it. Once again, the time has come when the prayer, the call of Rigden Japo, gave a signal to convene an emergency meeting. The Lord of the Circle of Great Masters, wearing a diamond crown and a red chiton, seated on a majestic throne, informed those assembled about the calamities that had befallen our planet. Then the King of the Circle of Great Masters began to prophesy about the impending events awaiting Earth. The predictions of the hierarchy were frightening. Incurable diseases afflicting people, claiming the lives of adults and children without distinction, natural disasters in the form of a series of earthquakes in Turkey, Greece, Armenia, and other parts of the planet, as the Earth can no longer endure and opens up to swallow people, their acquired possessions, burning houses, animals, plants, and all living things on Earth. Wars will never end, continued the King of the Circle of Great Masters. They have a tendency to move along a path created by an evil power. War will not end so easily. It will be a curse for the human race. Right now, the help of the higher powers is needed. And I appeal to you, O great cosmic powers, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, help save this much-suffering planet from destruction. In the hall, where the galactic coordinators had gathered, there was a dead silence. If Rigden Japo had called for help from the Supreme Mind, then indeed, a great calamity had befallen. The Holy Trinity directed their gaze to other planets and stars where life was similar to Earth's. Who could help humanity? From interstellar space, a rapidly approaching point began to draw closer. It froze in the center of the circle formed by the members of the Coordination Council, and then burst into a bright light. And before their eyes appeared Jesus Christ. You called me, O great peacekeepers of the galaxy. Yes, the time has come for your second coming to Earth, said the coordinator. Earth can no longer bear its sorrows. It weeps, threatening to cast off all that is living. Christ took the galactic crystal, shining with countless facets and reflecting all the universes, and turned it in a special way. He saw people and their future within it. As if on a large screen, he saw the suffering of humanity, newborn souls unable to approach their future mothers because evil spirits swarmed around them, like a swarm of bees, driving away the angelic souls of the children, while the mothers remained unaware of this. Children who had grown up and gone to school carried a family curse and tried to break free from it, not listening to teachers and parents, bringing them to tears and heart attacks. These children couldn't learn, as their minds were occupied by the seeds of the devil, and these seeds sprouted, turning the children into devilish servants. The tentacles of Satan reaching into one place after another on the planet, sapping the life power of people and feeding the dark powers of the universe. Horror and darkness filled the earth. People were wearing invisible glasses imposed by Satan, seeing only their suffering and unable to see the light. Who can accomplish this? Asked the hierarchs. In the constellation of Sirius, the supreme priest has led his people to a true paradise. They now have everything: healthy children, happy parents, no wars, and smiles on the faces of all beings. he has fulfilled the main task set before him, which was to remove the satanic glasses from his people. He is the only candidate for this salvation mission. Very well, let him appear before our eyes. And a second star from Sirius, moving at the speed of light, pierced through space, froze in the center of the circle of sitting coordinators. In front of them, the supreme priest of Sirius appeared from the light. I am ready to fulfill any task set before me by the Council of Coordinators, he said, bowing humbly before the lords. To you, the Son of the Galaxy, is entrusted the mission to go to Earth and prepare its inhabitants for the second coming of the Savior of humanity, Jesus Christ. You may leave your body here, depart to Earth in spirit, incarnate there as a human being. When the wickedness of humanity reaches its limit, you will be given a sign, and you will remember everything. May it be the will of the highest. The supreme priest of Sirius, folding his hands and a cross on his chest, rose from his knees. May it be the will of the highest, he echoed. Leaving the council chamber, he headed to another temple, where he was to leave his body. There, on a high pedestal, stood a crystal sarcophagus illuminated by billions of stars. The supreme priest of Sirius entered inside, and his consciousness, separating from his body, once again turned into light. As a falling star, he crossed a vast distance to reach Earth and filled with himself a woman who was ready to give birth. Thus, the Master arrived on Earth. His childhood was spent in constant meditation. Memories of life on Sirius and the present world around him had nothing in common. What should be done to bring paradise here on Earth? These questions troubled the young child day and night. When he lay down to sleep under the starry sky, he would travel to his native Sirius, knowing that they were waiting for him there, just as a mother awaits her child. Waking up under the earthly sun's rays, he continued to ponder. Why are people on Earth unhappy? One day, as a young man, he decided to spend a night in the forest. Setting up a campfire for the night, he suddenly saw a man emerging from the flames of the campfire. The man wore a diamond crown and a red robe. He stepped out of the fire, and his aura was the same color as the flames. The young man bowed in earthly reverence. His memory reminded him that he had been in this situation before, but not here on Earth. Yes, you have come here, son of Sirius, to save humanity, heal souls, and rescue this civilization that is perishing in torment. The period of your acclamation has ended. Now you need to go through the sacred passage of the Trans-Himalayas, where you will receive the initiation of the Synclight of Galactic Coordinators. The initiation is the key to the memory of many people. From this moment, you will be able to begin the fulfillment of your mission, O great priest of the great Sirius, said the apparition. The night passed unnoticed. The young man visited Sirius again, but this time, he not only enjoyed the heavenly bliss of his homeland, but he also remembered how the Siriusians had gone from devastation and interstellar wars to their present state. Memories of the transformation of the consciousness of the Siriusians began to emerge with great clarity. In the minds of people, he saw a multitude of viruses brought from the darkest corners of the universe. These viruses multiplied rapidly in people's minds, destroying and annihilating civilizations, starting with the children. The horrors of the invasion of dark powers were revealed to him. He rose to the sunrise and set out to where the luminary awoke, illuminating this much suffering planet. He walked without rest, regardless of day and night, or the seasons. Rain and snow, impassable marshes, taiga, rivers, rocky mountains. Nothing could stop the emissary of God. In his tattered clothing, he reached the Tibetan mountains. Here, he encountered ancient people who greeted him with the same words. Namaste, son of Sirius. You are already expected. The closer he came to the sacred temple, the more people, animals, and birds helped him, pointing to the invisible path. The 108th day of his journey arrived. Everything around him stood still. Not a breath of wind, not a movement of birds, only tranquility and grace. The young man assumed the lotus position, closed his eyes, and his lips uttered, Namo Om Tat Sat. Once again, Sirius shone brightly. The call of his ancestors made him think more and more about how life on Earth could become like life on Sirius. His body lifted above the surface, accompanied by the spirits of the Trans-Himalayans, the great warriors of light, beings without fear, possessed all the miraculous abilities available on Earth. Levitation, passing through walls, and more. He was transported through a 10-meter thick wall of the main temple of the Trans-Himalayas. The spirits gently lowered him onto a beautiful carpet, and the young man felt as if he were sitting in the grass on his favorite meadow in the forest. Sensations of the physical body disappeared, and he became conscious, observing what was happening. Right before him, on a golden throne, the Lord of the Circle of Masters sat in brightly red robes. The diamonds in the crown reflected the light of distant stars, somehow penetrating through the thickness of rocky walls. You have arrived in time, son of Sirius. Nothing stopped you. The powers of darkness wanted to disrupt our meeting and your great initiation. But you overcame all the difficulties. Now, the great hierarch of the galaxy, El Morya, will conduct your initiation, after which you will become the conductor of divine knowledge on Earth. The young man bowed, remaining in the lotus position. El Morya, making secret gestures over the outstretched body of the young man, said, Bhagavan. The temple walls trembled. Only the warriors of light, standing like an honor guard, did not flinch. At that moment, thunder rumbled over the earth, and people all over the world saw a rainbow. From now on, you, son of Sirius, bear the name of the embodiment of divine knowledge on earth, Bhagavan. El Morya concluded the initiation. The young man rose but remained unchanged. Yet he was already different. He was now the link between God and humanity on earth. A state of reverence and delight filled his entire being. The guardians of the Trans-Himalayas approached again. They seated the young man in a special silvery chair and, as if nothing had happened, transported him to the place where their first meeting had taken place. One of them reached out his right hand towards the sun. Bhagavan looked around. Silence. Not a leaf on the trees stirred. Suddenly, a previously unfamiliar bird on the nearest tree gazed intently at him. It seemed to him that her gaze was his own gaze upon himself. Now, I am what my gaze, my attention, is directed towards. I know everything about this bird, when she was born, how many times she has had offspring. the herald of great knowledge began his return journey. The sun shone brightly, and everything around was filled with joy and light. Every blade of grass, every leaf, welcomed him. People he encountered on his way escorted him to the Trans-Himalayas. They also greeted him with the gesture, Namaste, placing their left hand at the base of their abdomen and bringing their right hand to the chest. When he looked at people performing this gesture, Bhagavan not only saw the form of the person, but also saw that the left hand, covering the lower abdomen, prevented attachment to the material world from emanating from the person. The right hand redistributed the aura to radiate love. Words immediately came to his mind. I see the divine origin in you. This is the greeting that the people of Earth need. It is much more profound than the ordinary hello or hi. The wise people in the vicinity of the Trans-Himalayas lived in various ways. Some lived alone, some in families, and there were even entire communities. Thus, going from one village to another, the emissary from Sirius reached a village near the border. The faces of all the people in this village, from young to old, radiated smiles, joy, and their hearts emitted peace and harmony. They already knew about his arrival. At the farthest Yaranga, a 13-year-old girl greeted him with a namaste gesture. My name is Sosha, and are you from Sirius too? You see the past well, Sosha. And why do the people in your village have joyful smiles on their faces? Why shouldn't they? We have everything we need. And if someone faces difficulty, we go to the shaman. He chants and then tells us what to do, and we follow his advice. I've been talking too much. He's waiting for you, the great divine consciousness. She took his hand and led him among the Yarangas, carefully placed in the only clearing amidst the dense forest. The shaman's Yaranga was on the eastern side. Next to it stood a tall pole with attached horizontal slats from which colorful ribbons hung. As the emissary walked through the village, he felt more and more that something was familiar and majestic. He remembered how the Sync-Light coordinators of the galaxy had approached him thousands of years ago, asking him to send their most advanced priests for a special transcosmic mission and to save dying planets. 108,000 people were chosen. He also didn't know where they were sent. Among the saviors was the most capable disciple. He had a special sensitivity, and through this gift, beings with similar emissions gathered around him, capable of developing others and saving them from the rusty shackles of suffering. The emissary remembered the joy with which he had sent the group, and he thought that if an ordinary earthly person would part with their student, especially the most capable one, they would notice those who rejoiced in their student's success, and then even more advanced students would come to them. Approaching the Yaranga, the emissary made the namaste gesture and entered a state of reverence. The Yaranga's curtain lifted. A well-built, tall man, whose age was impossible to determine, emerged. His facial features did not indicate any affiliation with any earthly race. His black hair cascaded to his shoulders. He wore a simple, comfortable chiton that did not restrict body movement. The bright ornament on the chiton depicted this man's life. Each symbol brought knowledge of his many incarnations on Earth. The emissary's gaze slid over the ornament to search for a key, and there it was found. the Latin letter S with a vertical ascending endpoint within a circle, the symbol of Sirius. The emissary spoke the name of his best disciple. The shaman's face, previously impenetrable, twitched almost imperceptibly. He gestured for the guest to enter the yaranga and then bowed, like a disciple before his master, a young man before his beloved, a warrior before his lord. Now I see that our presence on earth was not in vain. It has been 2,000 years since the appearance of Christ on earth, and all that he gave to humanity has already been forgotten or buried under layers of falsehood, lies, and deception. The Synclight of Galactic Coordinators sent only 1,000 Siriusians to Earth. The rest were sent to other planets. Over the 2,000 earthly years, we have created several lineages distinct from Earth's. Our numbers have grown compared to the time of our arrival, but only a small part maintains the purity of the lineage and awaits the coming of the envoy. This envoy is you, my lord, master, and brother. The others, according to the coordinator's instructions, are dispersed across the earth in different countries, as they are integrated into all religions, races, and other human groups to support their livelihoods. In essence, you can call Earth's inhabitants a civilization on the brink of destruction, catastrophe, and extinction. Only through the priests of Sirius and their descendants is happiness and joy filling their lives. Do they know of this? The envoy asked. No, even the descendants of the priests no longer remember their origin and mission, but their memory contains information that they came with an important mission. Yes, there has already been a sign that it's time to unlock this memory. But first, show me around your village. Tell me about it. We have prepared a place here where all the priests will gather, and through prayer and their spirits, they will create a channel of communication with Sirius, and then a space-time channel will descend to Earth. First, the descendants of the Siriusians will feel the fresh air, and then the Earthlings. After all, they are also newcomers from other worlds, just more ancient. That's why their memory is still hidden. Today, we need to rest, and tomorrow we will go to the Holy Mountain. There is that place. 3 days before your arrival, I was sent there in a dream, the shaman said. Allow me to perform a ritual today? First, tell me why you are a shaman and not a Christian priest or a Jewish rabbi. The envoy sat by the fire and, gazing into the flames, listened to Aster's story. Everything he told appeared in the campfire's flames as real events. Shamanism preserves the most complete vision of reality. A shaman sees everything that exists because he has developed clairvoyance and he travels to different worlds. Other religions do not have this. They interpret their sacred text, each in their own way. People's minds are confused, and that's why so much evil is happening here. That's what's going on here. And in shamanism, our knowledge is preserved, that with which the coordinators sent us to Earth. Good. Perform the ritual. New revelations from the coordinators should be arriving. The Star Envoy already knew this information, but had the ability to inspire people with initiative, creativity, without taking away their opportunity to connect with the celestial world. Bhagavan had already seen how the most advanced people in the area of the Holy Mountain were gathering to meet him and establish a settlement that would later be called an eco-settlement. 3 years passed. In the main hall of the sacred temple, it was dark, and only the bright flames of burning candles extracted vague, flickering shadows from the surrounding space, forming peculiar beings that also participated in the captivating conversations between the envoy and his 12 closest disciples. The entire space was filled with a golden stream of light, which is always present in a place of power, where great events pleasing to God take place. There was a sign from the sync light of the galactic coordinators that the time has come to reveal the secret knowledge accumulated since the advent of Christ, the star envoy told. His aura was glowing with a bright golden light, just like it appeared within everyone who listened to him. This was also confirmed by the spirits present at the large gathering of the white shamans of the earth. The shamans swore before the highest spirits to serve the one who would carry out the divine will on earth in the time remaining until Armageddon. Shamans, in their joint ritual, managed to temporarily halt the pressure of dark powers on humans, but they reported that the time for passing on the knowledge could be limited, so everyone needed to hurry. Feel the importance of this moment fully. All of Bhagavan's disciples had lost their sense of reality. They had become a large, grieving heart, beating in rhythm with the universe. This heart ached with the pain for the fate of every living being, for the pain of not yet fully assisting them. Turn more to the Lord, acknowledge that you are imperfect, and the divine will give you strength. The state of sorrow, not for oneself, but for others, and the acute desire to help. This is the driving power of spreading knowledge, Bhagavan spoke. He extended his right hand, and a transparent crystal sphere materialized on it, which, before the admiring eyes of those present, increasingly resembled a small globe of the earth with outlines of the continents, oceans, mountains, and country borders. Look, this bright spot on the earth is the place of power, the location of the eco-settlement. Right now, the radiance will intensify even more because a large number of bright spirits sent by the white shamans after their gathering are starting to assemble here. These are spirits' helpers and protectors for those who will transmit knowledge to people. They will save them in the most difficult and unpredictable situations. Shamans have given them the task to bring more and more people in all countries to fulfill the will of the divine power. People will offer help in translating books into various languages of the world, facilitating their rapid dissemination. Knowledge will begin to flow in a huge, swift stream to every corner of the planet. The higher beings of Trans-Himalaya and the stars of Sirius have great hopes on us. Suddenly, in the shimmering darkness, a golden ray appeared, filling the sphere with light, starting from the bright spot, from east to west, illuminating Asia, then Europe, and finally the whole world. The sphere turned into a small, sparkling sun, and the hall became as bright as day. Now, the spirits have shown you how knowledge will spread as it is ordained from above, and they have shown how the earth will be filled with the golden energy of divine grace for the sake of its purification and salvation. For knowledge is not just words, not just ritual, but a very subtle energy that will be transmitted from disciples to everyone. Try to see the divine origin in every person and ignite it with your golden light. The sage's voice penetrated the hearts, where a deep understanding of their life's purpose unfolded. His magnificent and majestic face attracted the gaze of all those present. It changed, transforming into an old man and then into a young man. Quite unexpectedly, the crystal sphere split in 12 parts, and each of them fell before a specific disciple. With reverence, taking the crystal into their hands, the disciples pressed it to their hearts. So, the country you will soon travel to has been determined. Feel your great mission to bring light to people, to bring them salvation, and through them, to our much suffering planet Earth. But remember, dark powers never rest. Learning that there is Master Bhagavan, the envoy from distant Sirius, they have become even more determined to ensure their well-being. Because the envoy has a great mission to prepare people and their hearts for the second coming of Christ, so that there will be fewer deaths, so that the children remain healthy, and to prevent the Third World War. The minions of Satan are preparing new slanderous tricks without any evidence or facts, ready to falsify and fabricate any materials just to sow division among the Siriusians. But remember that in the blood of the messengers of Sirius, in their souls, there is already an antidote. It is the faith in the greatness of the mission of humanity's salvation. The disciples bowed in earthly reverence, and the star envoy blessed them for carrying out the will of the high powers of light. All 12 disciples, emissaries of light, immediately scattered to different countries. Each of them had a large number of spirits, helpers, and protectors. They all retained a sense of unity, the awareness that they were acting for the sake of the great purpose. May the Master's blessing be with you.
Do you want to know more? Watch the animated masterpiece that reveals the mysteries of humanity. Discover more sacred knowledge in books. You can meet the main characters of books at our seminars. Find your amulet of power. Participate in an individual ritual. Open free channel with daily spiritual practices for yourself. All these you will find on our website www.amazon1.org.